This is Don't Panic, episode number 328, recorded December 20th, 2021. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on the gadgets, the internet, and the you. I'm Sean Jennings, joined by two guys who have had it up to here with Omicron, Stan Miller and Colby Rabidou. Good evening, gentlemen.
Sean, is the second that you said you've had it up to here, like your internet cut out for me.
This is why I love local recording, because nobody will ever know but us. But guys, what do you think I've had it up to here with? Or you had it up to here? It
didn't cut out for me, so your internet cut out, Colby.
There you go. Or Dan, you seem fine to me, so it must be the internet between my house and Sean's house.
The tubes. That piece of string between two cans we use to record the show.
The Boston to Springfield interconnect.
Darn it.
The Boston to Springfield information superhighway.
That's right. All those 1950s ladies,
also known as the Mass Pike.
They're pulling plugs and sticking them in elsewhere in the switchboard.
Yep.
How's it going, guys?
All right.
Yeah, it's going.
I left my first negative App Store review today.
Oh no!
Actually, it's my first App Store review. Period. And I would be hard pressed, I think we've talked on the show, to think of another review I've left online at all.
This would be a fruitful area for discussion, so I'd like to jump into that. But Dan, what did you leave a negative discussion on?
There's this extremely terrible app we need to use to get into the mailroom, where you have to scan the QR code, and then you have to be signed in, and then you open the app and you scan the QR code, and then it tells you how many packages you have, and then the door opens.
Oh, okay.
It is so terrible. So it's clearly a terrible web view. It's very slow. Like when you first boot up the app, it just shows a spinner for 15, 20 seconds on a 5G or Wi-Fi. Doesn't seem to matter. It's probably timing out on some API that's been 500ing for 8 months. Sometimes you open up the app, you haven't used it in a couple days, and it's the door's open. You're no. And it's yeah, the door's open. And then it doesn't give you the option to scan the QR code.
Oh, right, because the door's open.
So at that point, you're just totally fucked. And sometimes you scan the QR code and nothing happens at all. No error message. Not even that there was an error. It doesn't even do that. Just nothing. You can scan as many times as you want. So I left a terrible review. I don't think it's been posted yet, though. I think there's a little filter.
the for some reason that reminds me of the in my latest episode of Technology Gaslighting. All of a sudden, the last 3 days, Siri doesn't know where she is.
Oh no!
So when I ask what's the weather when I'm going to go outside, she says, "Where? Where do you think?" All of a sudden, it's the only thing that has worked consistently on the Siri ball for a year.
Have you asked her if you can leave a negative review?
Maybe I should. Maybe Siri is having some aging problems.
You reminded me of another broken thing about this app. There is a report a problem button, and you press it, and it gives you this little text area, and you can fill it out, and then you click submit, and it says error, and then it deletes everything.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
That time,
awesome.
It does say error. Unlike when you actually try to use the app to do the only thing it's supposed to do, when if it errors, it doesn't say anything at all.
Guys, we got to create our own app. This sounds so easy.
Yeah. I think I've talked about this before, but there are some instances in life where I look around and I'm I think you mentioned this a while ago, the Amtrak app, Colby. I know I could do this so much better than what you're doing it. I don't even make mobile apps, and I know I could do it better. This, maybe this is how Richard Stallman got started. Maybe this is where free software came from. He's hang on a second, why is my life being ruled by these terrible apps written by terrible people? I should be able to write my own stupid package locker app.
Yeah.
Or I should be able to fix their bugs at least. At least console log the stupid error message.
Well, this sounds like a really great scheme you're cooking up, Dan. I think you should go to your building and offer to write a new app for packages, except then you can use it to steal everyone else's packages. Be the perfect heist.
Amazing. No one would ever.
And then, no, but then you just blame bugs in the app. Like, I'm a bad programmer. Just say I'm a bad programmer. I fucked it up. Sorry, all your packages got stolen.
If I really didn't have any scruples, I would instantly start a startup that is package tracking and lockers. You know, that stuff is really big, as I'm sure you know, in the suburbs, right? Like, well, who had my package? Where was it delivered? Who accepted it? Blockchain. Blockchain package locker. Full accountability and transparency. It only takes 12 hours to know when your package location has been updated.
Damn.
Which is honestly no worse than the UPS thing. So
That's true.
I'm sold. This is great. UPS shipping on. Well, you know, you could do shipping of NFTs, right?
sure, we could just print them out. Like get a 3D printer. Like we'll print and ship your NFTs on the blockchain.
I'm sure someone would be stupid enough to pay for that.
You could sell bitcoins, like physical Bitcoin.
Sort of like
Stamp it with the hash or whatever.
like every stock image of a Bitcoin where it's just that little bee on a little coin. I'm sure somebody sells those.
Exactly.
I'm sure you can buy them.
We got to get it to the penny where it costs more for the image of the Bitcoin than the Bitcoin itself.
Yeah.
$10,000.
Oh, such business people we are. I'm trying to think. I'm not a big review guy either. I once left. The worst review I think I ever left was at the Ramada in Fishkill. Colby was there when we stayed there. The worst hotel experience I've ever had in my life. That place was a grade A dump. And I left a big, long, nasty review, and then the manager very nicely responded, like, personally to me and was like, "We're so sorry. Please come back anytime. We'd love to have a..." And I never went back. I'm assuming it's been, like, condemned.
That's a fool me once situation.
Yeah, no, I was not interested.
What happened?
No, I mean, well, first of all, it was just enormously shitty. Like, it smelled like mold, and everything was just... You know when you see, like, oh, this building went through a hurricane, and then it's like 6 years later it's been abandoned? Like, that's kind of what this place was like. And then the sheets were disgusting, and we had to have them replaced, like, twice, and the toilet kept, like, running and wouldn't stop. And what else was wrong with it? General grossness, I think, is probably the best way to put it. Creepy, like a place where people who've committed crimes go to hide from the police type place. Which maybe that's their demographic, and my review was out of place. But
Right, there you go.
But that's about it. I'm not a big review guy. I did tell my contractor. So every contractor I've worked with now, like, their online reviews mean a lot to them. Because that's the first thing people check is there. And so every contractor I've ever had says, "Please, I beg of you, if you do one thing for me, leave me a review online." And the contractor who did my basement asked me that, and I told him to his face, I said, "Lee, God bless you. You'd probably prefer I didn't write you a review. I'm happy to pay you for the work you did, and let that be thanks enough." Because he did not do a great job. Not a horrible job, just not a great job. And I couldn't have because what he wanted me to do is say, "I love Lee, he's the best, everyone should hire him." I would never in a million years do that. So I said, you know what? Silence is the best option. Just be thankful I'm not saying anything.
Sean, you're
He's tough
I
to
want
please.
you to be my general contractor. Maybe.
Listen, when you cut a $30,000 check to somebody to do work on your house, you expect it to be fucking good. And when it's at best mediocre and at worst negligent, then I'm not going to give you a 5-star review. I'm sorry. I appreciate you have the balls to ask, but no, not at all. I'll do you the solid of not leaving a negative review.
See, this is an interesting difference between you and me because I would have thought that but I would have said like, "Oh yeah, sure, Lee, absolutely," and then I just wouldn't have done it.
No, I mean, I was half joking. I probably said it more aggressively to you than I did to him. I'm kind of talking it up for the show. I wasn't that aggressive, but I did basically say, probably not. Probably not, but that's okay. And he seemed to understand.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is one thing I have learned in business and in life, and it took me a very long time to get there. If you're paying somebody for a service, especially not like a fast food worker or something, like someone you've actually contracted for a decent sum of money, you can tell them to fuck off because you've given them money. Like, you don't have to be nice or, like, be overly polite or, like, not be rude on purpose, but, like, if they do something stupid, you can yell at them because you paid them. Like, I forget that sometimes. I do that at work all the time with our vendors, where I'm like, if I don't like something they do, I'll call a timeout and be like, that sucks. Don't do that. And it's like, because I'm giving you a lot of money, you have to listen to me. It's a great perk. I'd make a great rich guy. It's a shame that hasn't happened.
You got the lack of empathy down already.
Have you guys seen Succession?
No. It's been on my list.
It's exceptionally. I'm about halfway through season 2. It's fantastic, but obviously they're all like billionaires in the show, and they kind of show living a rich life. And there's kind of a sly underlying tone of like what it's like for the help versus the rich people. And I'm like, damn it, I would be a really great rich guy. It bums me out.
It's a shame. You never know, Sean.
Oh,
You're
boy.
still young.
I'll keep dreaming. Dreaming.
Do you have stock options in OMG Roofing?
No. Although I feel so stupid. It is very, not to get too much into it, but we're owned by like a private equity conglomerate. Mm-hmm. And for years, their stock was the flattest stock on the goddamn planet. I swear to God, a friggin' straight line. Never moved. And we all made fun of it. We all laughed and joked about it. Over the last 12 months, it's 10x'd. And I feel so stupid of like, it's like Microsoft, who was flat for fucking ever, and then they kind of exploded. It was just like that. And I'm like, God damn it. Shouldn't have made fun of them. Joke's on me.
Although, in fairness, you could have invested in pretty much any stock over that time.
That's true.
And done well.
That's true. And I do know the underlying fundamentals of the private equity conglomerate are not great. So I will continue to not invest in them.
That doesn't matter, though, Sean. As long as no one else knows that.
Fucking stock market, man. Bitcoin, blockchain. What is going on?
Someone was explaining... Was it options trading?
Oh,
that really blew my mind.
Option trading is like only one step below like debt swaps and like all that exotic stuff that crashed our economy more than once. Like, it's wild the financial products they will put together for people to invest in.
So, option trading is... It's kind of like shorting stocks, except you're basically just betting on what? On stock? Are you betting on stocks, or you're betting on like futures, or what's the thing I'm thinking of? Like price of oil and so forth.
I think you can do it both ways. I know when it comes to stocks, if I remember this correctly, you're essentially betting on what the stock's future will be, up or down.
Right.
Then you can actually trade. That bet is actually an asset, because if you're correct, you'll make a lot of money. And so that asset of the option, you can then trade because it has value in and of itself. That's where you get into options trading. So you're not even gambling, you're buying someone else's gamble.
Right. But it might have value.
Well, that's what
it doesn't necessarily have any value.
It's our economy is wild. It's wild. But that's sort of like when bundling debt is one thing that, like, you can buy debt as an investment, because what you're essentially doing is you're buying, like, they'll bundle auto loans and you can buy that as a financial product. But what you're buying is essentially the interest that will be made on those auto loans as an investment. That's what happened in the housing collapse, is that people didn't pay them, and so all the investors who bought them lost all their money.
Right.
It's again, this is wild. Guys, why are we rich?
We're getting there.
Frustrating.
We got a couple good product ideas in the barrel.
Right. We're gonna have our package blockchain,
We got the Snoomba.
the cardboard
Never forget.
blockchain.
Although the market for the Snoomba is shrinking, I guess.
By the way, I have a new product. Do you guys want to hear about my electronics construction project?
Yes.
I did some.
Is this a product you've made up or a product you purchased?
It's a product I bought all the parts of and invented and assembled myself,
Cool.
including some wiring. So we have not talked about this yet because we haven't done the show. I have an office now at work.
What?
I know, pretty exciting.
Does it have
Mr.
walls?
Manager.
No windows, but it does have walls and a door.
Wow.
And the door has
Are the
little
walls
windows.
glass?
No, they're yellow. Bright yellow.
Okay. That's better than glass still.
Yes, so
Like-
it's very
like caution
private.
tape yellow.
No, more like a dog vomit yellow. It's not great. It's not great, but it is private, and it is an office. And I was telling you, Colby, I bought one of your previous picks because as a very nice gift, my mother bought me a Keurig for my office, and I bought an Ember mug.
Nice.
Because I remember you had picked that, and I'm like, I gotta up my because right now I use like a travel mug, but I want just like a casual mug, but I don't want my coffee to get cold, so I picked one of those up.
There you go.
But a big problem I have in my office is nobody knows when I'm on a call or not. So they all just come up to my little window and they do this, and they hold their hand up to their head. Are you on the phone? And it's very annoying. So I said,
Sure.
Someone must have invented a product that tells people whether or not you're in a meeting, like visually at your door. And there are companies that make like little USB plug-in lights and stuff, but I can't install any software on my work computer. So none of those work. So a normal person would give up. I don't do that. So instead I bought a bunch of electrical parts, and I'm proud to present the first product. It looks like a bomb, but it's not. I invented my own wireless office status light. This is not.
Oh my god, I have that button. I have that button enclosure.
This is not a joke. So it is wireless kind of, but there are a few others. So I bought like an over-the-counter non-name brand Amazon wireless switch with wireable components. Put it into this electrical box with an 18-volt plug, and wired it up to these lights. So this is going to hang on the outside of my office door, and I have this wireless switch, and then I could just hit and light them up and give people a status light like, oh, Sean's available, it's green, or like, no, I'm in a meeting, it's red.
Have you thought of what you want orange to mean?
So my thought at this point, orange is going to either be one of two things, because green is like, come on in, and red is leave me the fuck alone. Orange is either going to be like, I'm concentrating, but you can knock, or out of office. Haven't decided which yet.
Working from home.
Yes.
Now, are you going to include documentation on the outside of your wall?
Yes, I'm going to print out a little sheet that points to each light.
That's so awesome.
And I'm going to... And actually, I do have one more part coming where I'm going to take this wireless switch apart, and it's a little thing, so it'll tell me... Because I can't see this on the inside of my door. So in case I forget
Right.
which are on and off, I have a thing that'll tell me on here. But, yeah, I bought all these parts, and I also need a wire caddy for this. But, yeah, so it kind of looks like a bomb. But it's not. It's an electrical box with a bunch of wires coming out of it. And, yeah, so this was my
Now,
project.
This looks very similar to, I think you helped me come up with some of these ideas. Remember, I was going to Spain, and we needed to put a booth together.
Yes.
And we ended up with this like you press the button and a light turned on.
Yes.
That was in my luggage.
Yeah.
And it basically looked like this.
I mean, this is a standard industrial part. Like this is for like big ass machines to like let you know they're on or not.
Did you get harassed at airport security, Dan?
No, I was shocked.
Dan doesn't look like too much of a threat.
Oh, actually, when I was flying back from Seattle, I was in the TSA pre-check line, and the guy behind me, goes through the metal detector or whatever, and then a beep emanates from the little backpack scanning machine, and the guy behind me goes, "What did he say? Oh, I'm a magician. Those are fake cards," or something like that. It's like, wow. It wasn't something though. Like the fake cards, I'm like, how is that suspicious? Like, what's in the cards? Like, what is fake about it?
Don't they use some kind of magnetism?
Oh, maybe
And so I wonder
that's
if that would
what it
screw
was.
with an X-ray machine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that was so funny.
But I would think
like,
he would,
a magician never reveals his secrets unless it's in the TSA.
Unless you're under arrest. No, I would think you would just check that. But I mean, more power to him.
I mean, you never know when you need to whip them out, right?
Right.
Impress people on the plane.
A magician. I wonder if I've ever met a magician. I mean, I don't.
You would know if you did necessarily.
That's what I mean.
Well, you did meet the hypnotist that one time, but he programmed you to not remember.
Right.
That was pretty funny. All those things you did under the spell of hypnosis. Dan remembers.
I wouldn't know.
I do.
Wouldn't know. It was in that escape room in Stamford, Connecticut.
I'm surprised you weren't supposed to remember that either.
I'm 99% sure it's not there anymore.
Oh.
That was a nice
Every
one.
time I walk by where I think it was, I look for it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't done a comprehensive survey, but I have to imagine the pandemic was not great for escape rooms.
What,
No.
you didn't want to be locked in a confined space with a bunch of strangers?
Tempting.
But no.
Yeah.
Speaking of the escape room, we have opened the last container of the Ritz crackers, and all the other crackers have been consumed except the saltines.
I
So-
finished the last 4 Ritz crackers earlier today. I needed
Nice.
a snack, and I had a little cheese, and I was like, oh my god, I need some carbs to put this cheese on. 4 Ritz crackers.
Dan,
Nice.
I give you full permission to do what I did, which is chuck those saltines right in the trash.
Yeah.
You
They're not going to
I'm not
Seattle.
going to torture you and make you eat them. Please don't.
We threw away the box of saltines and got an actual name brand box of saltines. So much better. Oh my god.
Interesting.
Yeah, real saltines are pretty good. They're very salty.
Maybe that'll be next year's taste off taste challenge, is to get a generic and a name brand of a couple different products
Yes.
and do a little taste test.
We got generic Raisin Bran yesterday. Can't tell the difference. It's really good.
I think cereals is one of those known for being interchangeable.
not terrible.
Yeah, I've been going hard on the Triscuits. I've been buying lots of Triscuits since we did that.
Oh, that was the other thing. In the grocery store, we walked by the flavored Triscuit section. My God, I had no idea.
They've gone wild. They've really lost their goddamn minds.
But yeah, the flavored Triscuit you sent was definitely my favorite, but Lena's least favorite. So
It's peppery. It's peppery. The garden herb is probably my second favorite. That's a really good one. The rosemary's good. Mini Triscuits. They're basically shredded wheat size.
What?
Yes, but they don't come in flavors. They only come in plain, unfortunately.
oh man,
Yeah, but they are fun, I guess, if you're into that sort of
See,
thing.
if you were a rich person, you could just hire someone to cut up your big Triscuits into mini Triscuits for you.
Or I
and
could
you
have
get
them-
mad if they did a bad job cutting them up and crush them too much.
Damn it! No, I would pay them to sew the big Triscuits together into an even bigger Triscuit. Like a blanket-sized
Super
Triscuit.
Triscuit. Now, do the small Triscuits, do they cut your mouth? I can imagine them. In my head, I'm imagining they're like Captain Crunch cereal, which,
No, they're very
amazing
soft.
cereal.
They're very thin.
Oh, I see. They're thinner.
No, because usually, I eat 2 of them at a time. They're too small to eat one at a time.
Right. Right.
But yeah, man, the Triscuit. They got Triscuit Thins. They've got Triscuit Whole Wheat. They literally have 18 varieties.
I think the Triscuit Thins are pretty good. Pretty good. I did like those pepper ones. They were so peppery.
I honestly, just a pepper explosion.
I was not expecting that. Triscuits. Crackers.
Excellent. Well, guys, we're coming up on the holidays.
Holidays.
This will be our last
Holidays.
pre-holiday show. What?
yeah.
How are you guys feeling about the holidays?
A little trepidatious.
Okay.
How come I can't click on your link?
It's not a link. It's just formatted. It tricked you.
Oh, man. I was
Got
hoping it would be the Liz Lemon year-end wrap-up.
No, I thought about that and then forgot. So I did not do that. But no.
I don't know. Trepidatious, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just where I'm at right now. But the whole COVID thing feels pretty, I don't know, pretty hopeless. Here's what I don't understand. Maybe, Sean, you can often help me understand things.
No. Okay. No pressure.
How come last year at this time we were, like 0.00001% vaccinated and we had N COVID cases, and now we're like in Connecticut, like 85% vaccinated, and we have like 0.95 of that. Like we have 95% of what was last year.
Yep.
Doesn't feel reasonable.
Dan, sometimes life just isn't fair. Is kind of the best I can give you. No, honestly, it's just one of those things that the vaccine is extremely good at preventing severe illness. It's only kind of good at stopping you from getting it at all. Like the vaccine is not, it's kind of like the flu vaccine where like it's not definitely going to stop you from getting the flu. It'll just help you if you get the flu. I was reading a number from a local hospital near me talking about hospitalized patients, and it said, they said what percentage of people in the hospital were vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Now, what do you guys think the percentages of people with COVID admitted to the hospital? What percentage were unvaccinated?
I think I know this.
It is, by the way, it
I
isn't
think
just
I
one
read
specific hospital, but it'll kind of prove my point when I get there.
I think the number I read was like 80% of the hospital admissions are unvaccinated.
Now, I was shocked to learn that my local hospital was only 50%.
Oh.
But then I had to think about that for a second because I live in a state where over 75% of the people are vaccinated. So if you think about it in that way, if only 25% of the population is unvaxxed, but they account for 50% of the hospitalizations, that actually makes a little more sense when you look at it from that perspective. So they're actually accounting for twice as many hospitalizations versus those who are vaccinated. Because the thing about vaccinations are, you can still have an autoimmune disorder, you can still be a cancer patient, you can still have a lot of things, be vaccinated and get COVID, and get bad COVID and hospitalized COVID.
Right.
So it's the good thing is hospitalizations, deaths are down, serious cases are down.
That's true.
Mild cases are up. Overall cases are up. Yeah. It's not great, but it could be a lot worse.
I've been wondering, should we not be talking about just the cases anymore?
Yes.
Is that the incorrect metric? Is that showing us the wrong thing at this point?
That's what people are saying about Omicron. The other thing about Omicron, by the way, is Delta is still going around, which is a more severe strain. So people are getting both.
At the same time?
No, I don't know if you can get both. God pray the person who gets both at the same time. No, I don't know about that. But no, you're absolutely right. And that's, the NFL just made a big thing. They had so many players test positive that they actually had to change their rules to say if you're vaccinated, boosted, asymptomatic, and you test positive, you can continue to play and practice. Because they've done studies that show the risk of spreading COVID on an outdoor field or during a game is actually very low. So they're actually going to let you play. So I think we're going to head in that direction where the treated asymptomatic people are going to not be pushed as far as before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Anyways.
It could be worse. No, honestly, I mean, it could be. Look,
that's comforting.
It's not good that people are sick and the hospitals are going to be. But again, if you look at the spike last year to this year, we're still not as bad as the peak of last year, which is good.
See, that's the other thing I don't understand. Because on the one hand, you look at the cases, and as Colby was saying, it's super scary. But then you look at the hospitalizations, and it doesn't seem super scary. But then why is everyone freaking out? Should I be freaking out?
You should definitely. I think people are freaking out because of how low cases got over the summer. I think if it had been sustained as high as it was last January all through the year, we wouldn't be freaking out. I think it's because, like, in July, they were, like, basically incredibly low. And I think that's what people are freaking out at, just like they did last year when it spiked up at the holidays. So I just think it's a temporary panic. Look at the cases come February or March, and if they don't start to drop, then start to get concerned. It's just, as you guys know, colds and flus are going around. It's just everyone's indoors. It's just that time of year, unfortunately.
It is. Now, did you say, Sean, you said, I have not been reading the news at all, because, like,
why would
it's
you?
not doing anything for me. Which is, I wish I had been, because I would have, like, maybe I would have thought to, like, buy, like, a at-home COVID test, like, a month ago or something. Before I could use to take one, before I try and go home, like, in 3 days. But is Omicron is, like, more contagious, less bad? Is that panning out to be that way?
Early reports indicate that that's the truth. In the countries like in South Africa where it very first hit, right, case rates are incredibly high and hospitalization rates are flat. Right. So it's encouraging.
I mean, that's pretty much the dream, right? In the world where we didn't, like, annihilate it with vaccines.
Well, yeah, they're only 25-30% vaccinated there. So right, it's bad to say, but it's a good proving ground for a variant where we can get some data in early. Now, that's not to say it can't mutate again or how it'll interact with the different vaccines we have here. They're still looking at it. But all signs point to, if you're vaccinated, you get the booster, and you're a generally healthy person, you'll probably be just fine with Omicron. But, you got to be careful with those at-home tests. And the only reason I say this is because if you're asymptomatic, they don't work. Oh, they don't tell you this.
Well,
because what happens is in an asymptomatic case, you can double check this. I'm 99% sure this is correct. In asymptomatic cases, you don't have enough virus in your body to detect on one of those rapid tests, at-home tests. It's only because there are people who buy them and test themselves every day, which is a total waste of those tests because by the time you show symptoms and they actually work, you're showing symptoms. So I tell people it's good to have them in your house if you think it's like, oh, is it a cold or is it COVID? Like, that's good. But to test yourself all the time, and you can go buy them, but they won't work nearly as well if you're not showing symptoms.
That makes sense. You need some, like, sinus overflow or something.
Yes, something like that. Yes, exactly. But I'm telling you, I've told everybody, if you can get your hands on them, just have them for that day you wake up and you don't feel good, and it saves you from having to track down a test. Right. And by the way, a lot of the experts say, do your rapid test at home, but still go get regular tested anyway, even if it comes back negative,
Yeah, speak for yourself. Maybe next month I can get it.
I know. It's disappointing. Well, I saw New York City's going to test a pilot program where if you request they'll send you a kit. You can test at home, mail it out, and within 48 hours they'll send you a result, and you can just do it at home. But they do it by mail, and it's a real test, full test.
That sounds great.
So they're trying.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Get COVID and die? I don't know. It's not. It's not great.
That's the worst case scenario.
It's not great. But is that what what do you guys think 2021 will be remembered for? This is quite possibly our last show of the year here.
Fucking M1 Max.
Sure, why not?
I don't know.
I meant in general, but you can say technology too. That's fine.
I mean, in general.
I'd like to say that's what I'll remember it for. I hope it's one of the things I'll remember it for. I do, I think I said this when I got the laptop. I hope I did, but this is the first computer in a long time that has changed the way I use computers. It's great.
Dan keeps
Don't
touching
worry
the
about
screen with his
anything.
finger, but it won't do anything. And I keep telling him it's
that's-
not a
that's
touch
Lena.
screen, Dan.
That's Lena. Don't bring this up. This is a sore
Oh,
subject.
is it? Oh, no. Someday we'll get that.
No, like being able to be on a video call and do whatever you want. What did I do the other day? Oh, yeah, I was playing a video game. I was playing Super Smash Brothers on my M1 Mac, and I was hooking up to a TV, but there was no power outlet nearby, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Doesn't matter. Didn't matter. If I did that on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, it would last like about 45 minutes.
Forget about it.
Sometimes, if my battery is fully charged and I close my other windows, I can be on a Zoom call for a full hour on my battery. Sometimes.
No, it is pretty impressive. I think no joke, my technology highlight of the year was the Oculus. I think
that's
I think
cool.
that was the coolest tech thing I did all year.
That was pretty cool. I honestly, I don't think I've used the Oculus since the day that I decided that I was going to keep it.
That was my fear. That was why I returned it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you were correct.
I have continued to play that Half-Life game. It's a lot of fun. I did, for the first time last week, punch the wall by accident.
You're moving out.
So-
It's not your problem anymore.
I was throwing a grenade. I didn't know I was that close to the wall.
Is that what that blemish on the wall behind you is?
Just tell him a grenade
You
went
see
through
the
there.
tiny scratch on the wall to the right. It was near this closet over here.
I hope your new place is bigger than your current one, so you don't.
It's not.
Oh no.
Or at least not in the areas where I would be doing this. Although I guess no, because unfortunately the problem with the Half-Life game is you do need to be connected to your computer to do it. So I can't just do it anywhere.
Gotcha.
Right.
But that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks for mentioning the Oculus. I wouldn't have brought that up.
That was good. That was a good.
Yeah.
Colby, I don't know if we're ever going to have parties again. I went to one party this year that was like with 5 people, and I brought the Oculus, and it was a huge hit. When you put it on the TV and watch people, like it's for the people watching, it's a double whammy of entertainment because you get to watch what's going on the screen, but you also get to watch what the person's doing and looking
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, I don't
Could
know.
be a
when I'll
good
go to-
Christmas activity.
Oh, I mean, I remember.
There you go.
I remember when
That's a good
it
idea.
reminds me of when the Wii came out, and everyone was like, you went over to the house of the person who had the Wii, so you could play on the Wii, and it was pretty
Right.
exciting. I think
Wii
this-
tennis.
Oh yeah, and then you'd be like, well, what are we gonna do? We gotta play the Wii, right? You gotta show it to us. I think it's gonna be like that.
Maybe I'll bring the Oculus home. That'd be fun. Strap my dad in. He's not ready.
Speaking of Wii Sports, I saw a video that documented the history of speedrunning Wii Sports. And the category in question was, how quickly can you beat one of each of the games? So was it tennis, baseball,
Table
golf,
tennis.
and boxing? I think this was just the first one. So I think it was just tennis, baseball, golf, and boxing. And bowling, right. The most interesting one was the golfing one because people figured out that you could take multiple shots. You could have one shot with multiple swings. Does that make sense? kind of like in a kung fu movie when like they shoot the bullet and the bullet actually like bends around the person, you know? You can kind of do that with one shot by swinging with the Wiimote and then unplugging the batteries from the Wiimote mid-swing and then putting the batteries back in and doing a different swing.
Ah,
Nice.
And so I think the game like assumes that it like lost connection for a second or something. So there are these speedrunners, like physically, they're like trying to take the batteries out as fast as they possibly can. They have these like rip cords, like whoop, and they rip out the batteries, and it stops it. It looked absolutely mind numbing, especially the baseball one, where like it was most efficient to like you didn't. Because all you need to do is win, not by that much. So you got like one run, and then you just wanted to strike out as quickly as possible and then prevent the other person from getting runs. Because it didn't matter how much you won by or something like that. It was kind of interesting, but people have different hobbies.
I keep thinking to myself, maybe I should get a hobby as a resolution next year, and then I hear stories like that, and I go,
Wii Sports Speedrunner.
I didn't like any word in that sentence. Wii Sports, speed or running.
You like sports.
But I'm not good at them.
That's okay.
Now, if there was like fantasy Wii Sports speed running, I might be able to do that.
Where it's like the caber toss and what other sports would people in medieval times play? So it could be fantasy Wii Sports.
Oh, what was the one where they had to take like a bale of hay and they had to chuck it up over a tall thing?
I don't know.
It was all part of the Highland Games, the Highland Scottish Games. But now I have to remember what the events are. And they have a whole website, and they will not tell me what the goddamn events are. Not helpful. I've seen it on ESPN.
ESPN 6?
Yes, exactly. The Highland Games. Events, heavy events. The caber toss, right? The stone put. The Scottish hammer throw. The weight throw. The sheath toss. That's what I was thinking about. A bundle of straw weighing 20 pounds and wrapped in a burlap bag is tossed vertically with a pitchfork over a raised bar, much like that used in pole vaulting. They would just take
like a catapult?
No, they literally they take it from the ground and they go whoosh, and they have to chuck it up way over this thing.
Wow,
it's pretty neat.
Speaking of technology that we think will be remembered from 2021, do we think that the Web3 blockchain-y kind of stuff, NFTs, will people be talking about that as something that happened in 2021 5 years from now? Or will it be like 3D TVs?
No, because people can actually make money on the blockchain. That's the difference. Nobody made any money on 3D TVs. That's why they didn't work. I think at NFT, someone somewhere is making money. So I think they'll stick around. I don't know. It'll be like one of those corners of the internet I look at and just don't understand, but I know it's very popular.
Hey, but you're a proud NFT owner.
Oh, don't remind me. That was probably my worst technology moment of the year, is the money I freaking burned. Although I got, it's so funny. I still don't understand how this works. I got an email from those guys, the NBA Top Shot guys, that said, we just deposited $10 in your account. I'm like, oh, I must have like sold a thing or something. No, they won't tell me why I now have $10 in my, they said it was an adjustment. And they just gave me $10.
Seems like a trap.
It's all a scam. So no, I just...
Can you take the $10 out?
I can take the $10 out. I probably should before they do something with it, but
before they change their mind.
I could buy more NBA moments.
I'm sure that's what they want.
I definitely shouldn't do that. No, so that was awful. I'm still mad about that. I will never, ever, ever make my money back. That is almost as bad. Did I ever tell you about the other worst investment I ever made?
No.
It's minor, but it just pissed me off. So Disney movie VHS tapes were very valuable on eBay. Nostalgic, people loved them, right? The plastic clamshells of back in the day, like the '90s tapes. And people,
those are
like
good.
Beanie Babies. Or Pokemon. There's a new nostalgia. People are paying good money for these, especially certain versions. I saw someone on Facebook was selling a huge box of them for like $50 for the box. And I knew like one tape in there is worth $50. So I'm like, all right, and I'm never this kind of guy, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I went and bought this whole box for $50. I kid you not, like 2 days later, Disney Plus was announced with all of the Disney movies on it, and then all the tape values completely plummeted to like nothing. And so I think I ended up breaking even. I was able to sell them, but the like $1,000 plus it would have been worth like 6 months prior really pissed me off.
That's crazy.
It was just
I would have thought that was all about the collectible nostalgia of the physical item and not about being able to watch
It's both, though.
Fantasia 2000.
It's both, because it is certain... It's a level of effort thing where it's like, I want to watch the movie. There's no easy way to watch it digitally. Yeah, I could get a DVD or something, or maybe there's one on Netflix, but for a little more, I can get the VHS tape. That's cool. And it's like, well, I could watch it in like 1 second or go through the hassle of bidding for something. I think it's just the nostalgia didn't meet the demand and the market got saturated in the tapes, unfortunately. That was the other thing. Because then they stopped selling, and then there were a lot of them. And so if you guys want some, I think I still have a few of my storage units. So if you're interested, if you want Sleeping Beauty on VHS, let me know. Real cheap.
Now, do you think that VHS tapes are going to become like vinyl, where people will seek out that authentic VHS viewing experience?
100%. And I think it's so funny because vinyl remains classic. Cassettes do not.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do, but CDs are coming back. And so I think it all has to do with what generation, what type of music, what time. I think the era of the cassette, which was sort of that like disco kind of like, I think people shied away from that. And by the time the 80s music scene, late 80s, early 90s music scene exploded with CDs, that's where people got back into CDs. I think it's the same with VHS tapes, where I think they were really hot at the right time. And everyone's going to be nostalgic for it. There was actually a great new Netflix series that's out, Saturday Morning All-Star Hits, which is Kyle Mooney from SNL did it. It's sort of it's a series that's a play on Saturday morning cartoons and VHS tapes and those sorts of things. And I think there will continue to be a big nostalgia for them. Do I think it'll be big bucks? No, but I think they'll be worth something. The only problem is they don't make VHS players anymore. Like, they still make record players.
Right.
Well, were they making record players 15 years ago?
You're right, certainly less, but I would bet still more than VHS. Like, I've looked for VHS players. They literally don't manufacture new ones anymore. You can only get used ones.
Is there like a budding aftermarket VHS player repair market?
And there's good money in it. Absolutely. When I started digitizing my tapes like 2 years ago, I went on eBay and I did some research and looked around, and yeah, there's legitimate money in it. Because people also look for, especially if you're like an archivist or something with certain quality, you look for certain types and certain eras of VCRs. Very interesting.
Huh. I can see it in that I feel like listening to records, it's not like, it's sort of like a lower fidelity thing in a particular way, right? Like, it has an aesthetic, and in the same way, like watching VHS tapes had an aesthetic, like a weird line would go through the screen or whatever
the
at a
hiss
weird
and
time.
the audio and
Right. So I feel like I could see it like from people, for people of a certain generation, where it's like, yeah, I remember watching it. I remember watching this, but I also remember watching this with these like weird artifacts on the screen.
Now, would you need a CRT TV though?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know why those things happen.
I will tell you, though, as someone who has digitized VHS tapes, if you do a mediocre enough job like I did, they still look like VHS tapes on your big flat screen.
Nice.
Like streamed off of my Plex server, they look like really mediocre VHS tapes. So, of course, that was like hand recorded, family movies. But
right.
No, it is interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Music videos specifically fascinate me because 90% of them we all saw on television, on MTV or wherever, where the quality wasn't good. Have you guys seen any of these like 4K upscaled music videos? They don't look as good. I would argue, because I'm so used to seeing them in a certain format, that when they look like they were cinematically shot in 4K, it's like, oh, I don't like this. And so I do think there is something to the format does make the message in some way.
Yeah. Well, I still can't get used to the like motion smoothed TV, which part of me is sad that I still have the same TV I've had for 9 years, but the other part of me is not sad because it has like, I can just turn that off. It does have the motion smoothing and it occasionally turns back on of its own volition, but like,
what is that?
Motion smoothing?
Yeah.
Essentially, it uses a processor and software. So a TV is made up of frames, right? 30 frames per second. And what it essentially does is instead of moving from like frame, what it does is it blurs the action, but it smooths between the frames. And so it theoretically, because a movie has more frames than your television does, and so theoretically, by smoothing it, it should look more like a movie, like it has more frames. The problem is because a computer's doing it automatically, it doesn't do a good job, and it's not really designed to do that. Movies are purposefully shot in a certain way that television isn't. And so when you upscale television or sports or something like that, it looks weird.
Am I remembering correctly that movies are shot in like 24 frames per second?
Yes, exactly. Television is usually shot in 30 frames, sports up to 60. But it's not simply the frame rate. There's other, and I am not an expert in this in any way, but there are other elements that go into it. And so it's that, if you ever heard the soap opera effect, because soap operas used to shoot on a higher frame rate tape because they were produced cheaply.
That's so, I would have expected that higher frame rates would be more expensive.
No, because they want television to look like movies, right? So theoretically, believe it or not, people want less frame rate. 4K digital eliminates that, right? Because there are no frames. So it's ultra smooth. That's why digital looks so much better. If that makes sense. And actually, digital, they'll put filters on digital movies to make it look like it's film. And they'll actually remove frames. It's all very strange. Basically, the issue with televisions is it's an AI software doing it.
Right.
And it doesn't do a good job.
It doesn't look good.
Okay, now I'm caught up.
Right. It's like the computer in your television makes every program look like a soap opera, and it's quite unpleasant. And like,
you can't turn this off?
Usually you can turn it off, but like, any non-weird person who has purchased an LCD TV in the last like 7 years has not turned it off. Like if you're watching TV at someone else's house, it's on.
Or if you go to like a Best Buy or something and you look at the TVs on the wall, and you're always like, why doesn't this look like it does at home? And it's because it has all that. My father just bought a new TV for the first time in quite a while. And I wasn't there when he set it up, but he called me. He's like, Sean, the picture on this thing is awful. It's awful. I hate it. What's wrong with it? And so I took it. It had every bizarre, like the lighting was set to like vivid and like the setting was set to like action or like gaming or something.
He bought a floor model?
No, it was brand new, but it was just so bizarre. Like why every kind of motion smoothing and every fancy technology. And it looked, he's like, why does everyone look like this? And I had him turn it all off. He's like, oh, that looks much better. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. TVs.
Now, guys, as we approach the end of the hour here, having just blathered on for quite a while, our year-end wrap-up episode 2022, a mouthful of a year, coming up. What do you guys expect for 2022? Big question, loaded question.
Fire
I think
and
I'm out of the
brimstone.
prediction game. I don't know. I've never been more nervous about making a prediction Do we know what our predictions were last year? Did we make predictions?
Well, that's what's so funny is last year I made a sheet and there's nothing written in it. So last year I think that's why I didn't do it tonight, because I think we blew up the format last year.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have to imagine I felt similarly last year. At least last year we knew that there would be vaccines.
That's true.
I would have thought that we would have been able to make predictions last year.
Do you know though, the one prediction, I think we talked about it on the show last year, but I want to bring it up because it was in the spreadsheet. We predicted the presidential winners.
We did?
So this would have been 2 years ago, because by this time last year we would have known. So I think this is from 2 years ago. Do you guys remember that?
Oh my God, no.
And I just like to brag because I won, because I picked Biden. Colby picked Warren or Bernie, and Dan, you picked Trump. So, but I just happened to see that in the spreadsheet. Glad I wrote that down. I think that
I do remember that. That was my theory, because incumbent presidents usually get reelected if the economy.
And it was close, so you weren't far off. No, I think last year we did like a end of decade episode, because it was 20. Right. It was the end of 2020. And so, guys, what's going to happen next year? Doesn't even have to be specific. Are we feeling good? Or feeling bad?
I mean, I'm not feeling as bad as I was this time last year.
Okay.
But, it's a pretty low bar.
But, yeah, I'm not feeling as good as I was earlier this year.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, because you think about, we went from, Trump and insurrection stuff and no vaccine to vaccine and low cases to, oh, wait a second, maybe we can't actually pass any bills in Congress to Delta, oh shit. It's been a roller coaster. Never mind all the other stuff we forgot about. The whole Iraq thing.
Bean Dad,
wildfires.
That was the first. Bean Dad was the first viral thing of 2021. That's how long ago that was. That was January 1.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's been a wild year. I will be completely honest. I usually am on the show. I am not optimistic for next year. I think next year is going to be worse than this year. I really do. I think every year for the next 2 or 3 years is going to be worse than the year before. I hate to be that guy. I hope it's not. I hope I'm wrong. But we got the midterms coming up in 2022, which is going to be gross. We've got COVID fatigue is going to hit a breaking point in 2022. I just am not super jazzed, but I hope I'm wrong.
Jazzless.
All right. Do we think we're going to get Apple VR AR product in 2022?
Announced in the fall, not available for sale until next year, until 2023. That's my guess.
Okay.
Teased.
What about the Apple car? Is this year the year?
Absolutely not. I'll eat my hat if we get an Apple car.
I was going to say, I do think we'll remember this year as an electric car year.
Yeah.
Going from it's only Tesla to now everybody is selling an electric car this year, at least one.
Yeah, I think so. I think if we look back and be like, what was the consumer electronic of 2022? Electric car might be the answer. I would totally buy that.
But next year, I don't know. The Apple doing VR stuff is the only thing on my mind that I'm excited about. Maybe PS5 games will come out. That would be exciting.
Do you have a PS5?
Maybe you'd be able to buy a PS5 on Amazon.com. Here's a question.
I was going to say, I'm not buying a PS5 until they come out with a small one. I saw a PS5 in real life recently.
It's huge.
It was so big
insane.
You walked right into it.
I had to look up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Yeah. PS5.
What was I going to say?
Do
you think that this time next year, let's say December 1st, let's make a long bet. December 1st, 2022, can you go on to Amazon.com and click buy it now on a PlayStation 5 and have it delivered within 2 days?
I'm going to say no. I don't think so.
I'm going to agree.
I think it's too much of a cluster.
But
Damn.
I think it's purely for marketing purposes. I think by then the manufacturing's fine. I think at that point they realize, oh, we can actually get more buzz by doing these limited drops and stuff like that.
Right.
And keep it in people's minds.
I'm still spending money on PS4 games. So.
Yeah, exactly. And by then there's already rumors of the PlayStation PC service. And so I think they're going to focus on gaming and on cloud stuff. And they'll sell consoles when they get around to it. They don't make any money on the consoles anyway. They make it on the games.
All right, another depressing thing to add to 2022.
Foldable phones.
Ooh.
Foldable phones.
Do you think there'll be an Apple foldable
Well,
phone?
I was thinking, which is more likely, the AR headset or a foldable phone? Probably the AR headset.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
But I can hold out hope for the foldable phone. I want the Apple foldable phone because I think it'd be slick as hell. I remain interested in the foldable phone, but
have you tried any of the Samsung ones?
I have not. I've seen them in person.
Oh, okay.
I guess if that's what you mean by try, then
Yeah,
yes.
you held one.
Yes. They're still too thick, if for lack of a better word. When they fold, they're still too thick. So I think in a couple years, when the technology gets better, when I can get a foldable phone that's as thick folded as my current iPhone, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer at that point. Right now, it's just a little too chunky.
I think this is unrelated, but I think the iPhone Pro is now too heavy for me. Like it hurts my hand. Like when I hold, I've like noticed this. Like when I hold the phone, I have it propped up on my pinky, and I've been getting like
it's very bad for you.
Weird like pains and stuff.
Oh, medically, it's terrible.
Arm.
It's like carpal tunnel. You'll screw up your hand and your wrist.
No, totally. I've been trying to do other things, but like it snuck up on me once I got this new phone. It was like whatever, 7 more grams they added.
It's that third camera adds all the weight. You know,
right.
It's all. Well, have you tried? Because I know people use like the ring you can stick to the back of your phone that you put your finger
pop
through.
Socket.
Or,
maybe that's what I need.
I don't know. You got or like the pop socket or something you can hold it with.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, maybe that's the move. I need a more accessible phone.
What do you think is going to happen with social media in 2022?
That's a good question.
Seems like it's at a bit of an inflection point right now. You got Twitter saying like, "Oh, we're going to decentralize and Web3 everything."
Twitter
Facebook
said
the
that?
Metaverse. Yeah, Twitter and well, maybe it's not so much Twitter as the extended, Jack Dorsey universe, but they renamed Square to Block, and it's all going to be about the blockchain.
Nice.
Twitter has its decentralized subgroup and a crypto subgroup.
Remember Facebook's cryptocurrency that totally blew up? That was awesome. That may have been my favorite thing
Libra.
in the last couple of years.
Libra.
It's still going as far as I know.
No, basically everyone quit. It does
Really?
still exist, but basically everyone quit. And then they're like talking about like spinning it off, so it's not a Facebook thing, but it is a Facebook thing. I think
Interesting.
if I'm going to be optimistic about next year, I think social media will get very incrementally better. I think it's going to be chipping away at the block, but I think they're going to make little policy tweaks every so often, and it's going to slowly get a little bit better.
Chipping away at the blockchain?
Chipping away at there's the episode title. Thank you, Dan.
Nailed it.
No, I think it's slowly going to be like limiting or banning political advertising and prioritizing the feeds in a better way and certifying news and misinformation. I think little by little, I'm going to hope by the end of next year it'll be better.
I feel like just no political advertising would be great.
Well, that's what everyone says.
Solve a lot of problems.
It seems like a no-brainer, but they also like money. So
Right. Cognitive dissonance. I really My Instagram, I don't know if this is I'm in an experiment group or this is happening to everyone, but my Instagram started like inserting suggested posts into my
Awful.
feed.
Horrible.
Hate it.
Makes it useless.
No, yeah, I'm done. It makes me so mad every time I stop to look at something and then like spend 30 seconds trying to figure out who the fuck posted it,
Colby,
and then I
you
realize
like animals. Here are some pictures of animals.
Yep.
And there's
hard
no way to
pass.
turn it off
Hard
that I
pass.
can find.
I think I don't care to look through the settings for something like that. It's not worth it. I think 2022 is the year that Tweed.systems takes off.
Yeah.
And we turned to RSS.
Folks, hold on to
Maybe
those stock options. They're going to be worth something.
Maybe I can make RSS feeds for Instagram profiles too.
I would actually be very happy about that. More so than Twitter. Because I think people tweet too. Honestly, for me, I think there are too many tweets for RSS. But Instagram with the image attached, that would be nice.
Some people tweet too much.
I bet you. The thing is, though, I bet you could already do that with IFT.
Oh, probably.
But
they're trying to get money out of you.
That's true. With the right Colby spin, I think that would be impressive.
Right. I recently fixed the bug in Tweed.systems that made it work again. So it's like working much better, which is nice.
I love it. No, I think I'm going to be like our friend Matt Mariani, the only person I know who still posts stories to Snapchat. So
maybe let's
just
move.
go back to Snapchat when life was good.
Snapchat.
Good times.
Wow. Social media. Maybe there's a new thing coming for us.
Oh, it sounds like a threat when you say it that way.
Well,
it's coming for us. This summer.
Impending.
Yeah, who knows? There'll be some, were we really expecting... The NFTs weren't a thing this time last year, so...
You're right.
What new useless technology will we get this year?
Now, that's a good question. Like, were NFTs, like, not a thing at all? Like, were they completely invented in 2021?
I mean,
where's the NFT for NFTs? Somebody must have it.
I think the concept of an NFT has been around for a couple of years.
Okay.
Who created the first NFT? 2014.
That's a while ago.
And you can buy the original one for $7 million.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, no, they've been around for a while. I guess this was the year they really popped off. Huh. Well, there you go. Maybe next year the show will be on the blockchain. Who knows?
The next year the show's going to be off the chain. That's all I know.
Yes! Going into what year are we on? Year 8 or 9?
9, I think.
Say it isn't so.
It is so.
2013. Wow.
Yeah. We crushed it.
Wow.
My technical goal for the Don't Panic website is I would like to scrape the captions, the Google generated captions for each episode to really like solidify the sample of all of us, the three of us, for posterity.
More data. Well, I was just reading
Right.
they're now putting like sensors on NBA players while they're playing to track like their health, and they're going to like like on screen during the game, you'll see like how far somebody ran or their heart rate. We should have biometrics for this show while we're doing it. Like a little on screen thing with like our heart rate, or I don't know. Could be the future. Telemetrics.
Yeah. I like it.
It's going to be great. 2022. What a year it'll be. We've been doing the show so long, we'll now have 2 hosts who have lived on the West Coast.
How long do you think it'll take for us to get to 100% West Coast experience?
A while. Oh, I would love to live on the West Coast, but I lived on the South Coast. Does that count?
It's a
That
coast.
counts. We've all done a significant move, or we will have all done one.
Yeah.
And
Life experience.
I still cannot believe after 9 years we still do the show on Monday nights.
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
Like, of all the nights of the week, we're like, what's the one night where you have the most energy? You're the most excited to do this. For some reason, we've always done this on Monday. And now it just becomes a thing where it's like, we can't change it now, right? But it's just so funny to me that people have literally said, like, why do you do it on Monday nights? I'm like, because we don't panic, man. We make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like just everyone who knows me now just assumes I can't. Even my mom, I called my parents tonight earlier. My mom's like, don't you have the podcast tonight?
It's great. We're known for this. Where everybody, you could be watching Monday Night Football, or you could be watching us. No, this is really wonderful, guys. 2021 in the books, a wonderful year, a great year spent with you two guys here on the show. It was such a treat getting to hang out and do some fun stuff, and I'm very excited for 2022. We'll have a great year coming for us, and hopefully for everybody. I hope our predictions are wrong. And, of course, I'll run up for debate as well. I got to plug it because we're wrapping up the year over there. We just recorded our 2021 year-end wrap-up. Matt and I, we talked about the movies, the music of 2021, what we talked about on Up for Debate for 2021. And we're already planning some great stuff for next year. Of course, our annual Super Bowl prop bets will be coming up soon in early February. We're also going to be doing an episode on Matt's book I was supposed to read over the summer and have not read yet. So that will be good. And we're going to do another movie commentary very soon. So we got some good stuff happening over there. You're going to check it out at upfordebate.tv. But of course, for us, you should go to our website, don'tpanic.io. It's really great. Colby made it. It's got all the links and the picks and the shows and the whole thing. It's really fantastic. And of course, subscribe wherever you get podcasts. And of course, get in touch with us, don'tpanicshow@gmail.com, or tweet at us at don'tpanicshow. Guys, that's it for this episode in this year.
Wow.
Believe it.
Looks
We did
like
it.
We made it.
Oh, I feel like I've aged 10, but that's okay. It's a great time. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Happy holidays. Have a great one. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time for another wonderful episode of Don't Panic.
Bye.